but nations or investors who are coming in through the bilateral investment protection agreements, they are being guaranteed. We are actually even guaranteeing even the funds which were attained through the land reform program, so that people can invest comfortably with some kind of security. So that I have got a 99-year lease which is bankable and transferable and which can be renewed. So if you get 20 million into the agricultural sector, you are sure that you are going to recover it. If you bring 20 million into the medical sector, surely the people will be happy to get a service of that nature. And if you get your $20 million into the manufacturing sector, surely be competitive and then export. And if you get your 20 million into the, I was saying 20 millimeters. $20 million into the mining sector, then naturally you are going to get that. So it's crucial that this investment drive which we are making is guaranteed. Because capital only goes to where it is comfortable. And we must be competitive as a nation. But whether you get body notes or what?
Okay. Thank you, Minister. Firstly, on the national branding exercise, there's a lady called Ambassador Mubi, right? Mubi, who's in the office of the President and Cabinet. She's spearheading that exercise. And the nice thing about Ministry of Finance, you get to know what everyone is doing because they always come for money. So there's that lady. And I think if there are issues or aspects that you feel that we should be addressing, I think through your ambassador, he can be able to make the link to Ambassador Mubi. Because right now I know, like the past month, she's been going around the country and doing my focus groups. And I think it would be necessary for her to even come out here in the diaspora and engage you guys to hear your thoughts in terms of like how should we go about the issue in national branding. And I think we've given her enough money to be able to do all of that. And then I think there's an issue on the skills. Someone was talking about the skills. How can you be considered? Last month, I took to Parliament the corporate governance bill. In the corporate governance bill, there's a clause which says that every ministry is supposed to have a skills database of individuals. And over and above the skills database that's going to be housed in the ministry, there's going to be an overall skills database that's going to be held in the office of the President and Cabinet. So now this issue looks like someone can just wake up and do such a Zukuru paper board that has just come from Moyo. That's going to be a thing of the past. We're going towards a meritocracy system where everything is based on merit. So that's why there's now that system that, like, let's have a skills database, and whoever is going to be put on boards, if it's an issue of a parastatal, there's key positions. It has to be a CV that's in that skills database. So I think as we implement, because we passed the corporate governance bill about 3 weeks ago, so I'm sure this is now one of the things that, like, now it's being put into what? Into operation. So I just wanted to touch on that. Then there's the issue of the guarantees. I'm also going to just touch on, there's every month, almost every day, we get someone coming into the office. I start out, I've got 5 billion. Can I have a sovereign guarantee? I have so many billions. Can I have this guarantee and that guarantee? And I just want to explain this to everyone so that you understand how we operate. You've got the private sector, and then you've got government, right? So when you're talking of guarantees, right, firstly, there's what sort of guarantees do we give people that are in the private sector? That's what the minister was talking about. We've got BPAs, we've got the laws in the land that make sure that, like, you know, your capital, if you come and you invest in Zimbabwe, you're not going to have your business being expropriated. If that probably happens, it's because you've broken some law. You've broken some tax laws, or you've engaged in nefarious activities where you're growing banja, where you're saying you're going to grow soya, right? So that's on the private sector. Then when it comes to where you are investing in a government entity, that's where the issues of the sovereign guarantees come in. And I know there's so many people who are probably sitting in here who are saying that, like, oh, you know, does government give sovereign guarantees? We do give sovereign guarantees. But what you need to understand is the process for you to get a sovereign guarantee. You don't come to the Ministry of Finance asking for a sovereign guarantee, because we are not the ones who own the projects. So you go to a line ministry, you go to Ministry of Water, Ministry of Water then says, yes, we want that dam. They sign an agreement with you. Ministry of Water then come to us and say, hey, there's this dam that we feel is important. These are the numbers. We analyze the numbers and say, yes, we issue the sovereign guarantee. So that's the way it works. So a good starting point for all of you is that document, right? That's a very important document. Because in that document, it's clear in terms of, like, which projects are national priority projects. That document is a document that, like, 10 years from now, it's still a very valid document. Because, like, we are talking of Gwai Shangani Dam, it does not matter which government is there. Gwai Shangani Dam will always be an important project. You know, it talks about, like, you know, my power lines that need to be put up, roads that need to be done. So a good starting point for you guys, when you think about, like, okay, I want to talk to investors who I want to bring to Zimbabwe, look at those projects. Those are projects you put it blindly, who will sign a sovereign guarantee for. If you brought forward a project that's viable to the line ministry. Then for the private sector, there's a thing called the African Trade Insurance, ATI. We became a member of ATI. The reason why we became a member of ATI is that, like, when you want to come and bring your investment into Zimbabwe, you want political risk insurance. That's, you want to make sure that, like, your capital is not going to be affected by the political shenanigans in the country. So we're now a member of that. So you can be able to make sure that when you bring your investment, you can put on that ATI insurance on your investment. Then you've got a situation where your capital is safe. That's the first point. Then the second point is that, like, okay, you've brought in your capital into the country. Now you need your dividends. So that's why we've struggled as a country. That, like, yes, you get a dividend, it's sitting in your bank account, Kustanchat or wherever, and you want to bring back your dividend out here, right? That's subject to availability of foreign currency. And Ramangujga every Tuesday does an allocation of foreign currency. What had been happening is that, like, foreign currency was being prioritized to those things do not affect almost everyone. Your cooking oils, my pets, you know, your fuel. I thought that's you know, the fuel, flour, right? Because everybody needs to kujika. So you find almost all the money deliberately we're putting it into that space. But, like, we then realize that, like, for the investors to come into Zimbabwe, what's important for them is always that question, will I be able to take it out? So now there's actually a deliberate policy where we're ring-fencing funds that are coming in for investment purposes and making sure that now we allow those that are taking dividends out,
that are taking money out of the stock exchange. After all, somebody goes stock exchange, you've made your money. You should be able to enjoy your profits. So now we're deliberately making sure that we allocate money towards that. That's so that you can get something. But we're not saying where we are right now, like we can be able to satisfy that demand. But we know we're getting there. That's why it's important for us to stand in front of you and basically tell you that, like, you know what, the environment is changing. What's important for us is to change the country rating and to be able to attract more money into the country, to increase productivity, so that you can be able to take your money out. Now we answer.
I'll take the next round of questions. It's been observed that women being more than men in the world, 51%. Those that have asked questions are not representing that percentage. Here we go, madam.
Thank you very much. My name is Linda Chikumira. And I've got a message first for Mr. Moyo. Sorry, Mr. Moyo. Minister Moyo. I would like to take a message to the Ministry of Health, if possible. I know it's very difficult to explain it, but this particular message is very good. The Health Professions Council, the nurses in Zimbabwe, let it agree to work in the nurses and diaspora. Because people want to learn skills, but they can't even implement them. Not only what you blow up, and I'm not to get up HPC, go for that to see it. And get you trained in Zimbabwe. You now have better skills than we are imparting over. But you have to block it because of my petty jealousies. We want that to stop. And then number two, this just applies to my young Zimbabweans. It is a long shot, yes. We are just starting the new dispensation. But can the government at some point facilitate a hub or a center both for Zimbabwe, because a lot of youth are jobless. But when they have any skills, innovations, it's usually not talking about but because Havana Mabasacha has one. So we get a hub center for Zimbabwe, we get a hub center for Maria at the moment is tight for Zimbabwe. But with time, to put this also, at least the minister can also go. Is there a way of building children development in the UK? Just let a hub center. You hear me, Shamabasa, you hear me looking at my drugs. You want to go no potera, it's no ideas. At the same time, one of my methods, what the purpose with a network between Zimbabwe and the UK.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm taking the other lady here, please.
Hello, I'm Helen Kushwaya. I lecture in Birmingham. I've got my friends who are lecturers here as well, from different parts. Our major issue, for example, we contacted Minister of Education, Mr. Paul Mavima, and our problem is more or less the same as the nursing department's issue, whereby we told him we wanted to help him in CDU curriculum of the education department, but then we met a lot of resistance from people in Zim who came here to help us out. They locked the whole system and we had no access to the internet to go online to check the curriculum at all. So we are still just stuck and we are just lost. I don't know if that one can be addressed.
Thank you. Allow us to pay the lady, please, there you are. That's the last question in this segment, and the Honourable Minister will then respond.
My name is Mrs. Faith Kakanje. I run the African Women Empowerment Forum organization in the UK and in other parts of Africa. I am here today. We came here, we became asylum seekers, we became refugees. Most of the women we came with, some of them, they are old now, and they need our support, and they don't have their immigration status yet. Is there anything that the minister can support us with? We know the channels to go if we can be given support within the UK to support these women, because some of them, they are not even able to do anything. They've never worked ever since 16 years ago. That is one. Secondly, we are ready as diaspora women to migrate to Zimbabwe on the 30th of May to implement a regeneration program based on gender empowerment. Now, is there any support that we can get pertaining the infrastructure so that we get to apply what we have, given that we have little resources as volunteers, we are giving our time, and we have recruited other members of the communities who are not Zimbabweans? Is there any support that we can get straight away from the 30th up to the end of June? So we'll be in Zimbabwe, 30 of us will be running around, running conferences and fundraising. We have targets and we have our proposal ready. So we want to know if we have any support from the government that we can get. Thank you.
You gave 2 dates, you will be home 30 May or 30 June?
To do with this day, I wanted to do a supplement.
Thank you very much. A full month in the country. Thank you very much. The Honourable Minister will respond. Panganai, can you come up to the front, please?
Right. Thank you very much. There's a question there. I shall not declare. Okay. It is about the health sector. And I think it's similar to the education sector. There seems to be an inhibition somehow, or failure to, there's no chemistry between the diaspora and those who remain, who are running ministries or the medical council, nurses council, and then education council. The first point is that, again I say it, this is a process. Process of change. You know, when you are turning an elephant, it turns, when you are wanting to turn here, it goes, that is exactly what is happening with some of our institutions. And we are saying we must move that way. And that is the new way of doing things. Totally, let us, we are saying no to what has been said here, no to corrupt activities. And we are saying no to networks, to nepotism somehow, which protect institutions which do not belong to themselves, but to the state. So we are saying this must basically stop. And I would be very much interested to know exactly the nation's organization, which is maybe do a good work. So that we can really deal with this. Because the new thrust we are taking is that we are saying we've got our people who have been out here, not because of their own liking, but because of different reasons which I earlier on mentioned. And these reasons, now there are opportunities of them ushering and imparting quite a lot of skills and experience back home. And we are saying we must have a skills inventory. And it's high time that most of the high skills which we demand to run, as it was said, parastatals, to run these institutions, to run all these, must be benchmarked against the best which there is in the world. And the best is out here in the diaspora. If I want to make the open you are stakeholders in that country. Yeah, if there are issues which you have, whether it is to do with education or it is to do with where you think you are value adding, you want to value add certain issues, then please raise us so that we can alert the relevant system so that they should comply. Yes. I'm aware about the issue of the integration, isn't it? Yes, it's a matter which was discussed, and I'm aware that Cabinet discussed that matter. Yeah, and the primary focus was what do we do first? We have got an obligation to fill in the gaps where there is a requirement for teachers at grade 1 and above. And then we've got this new program which is coming in. So the question was, we Cabinet decided that we were meant firstly to fill in the vacant posts which were existing within the higher or primary education and going onwards. So that then we could then revert to your area which you just talked about. So I don't think it was really the ministry's arrogance per se. It was because maybe there was no level of communication in that regard. Yeah. The Center for Habilitation for the Youth for Skills Development. Yeah. First of all, I'm worried about your statement when you say they are old Zimbabweans here who have not been working for the past 16 years and who are here. Can they come back home?
Yes, the program we arranged so that we go back home with resources.
Okay, you are looking for non-governmental organizations.
The UK government has the duty of care as well.
Okay.
So given their migration back home, they need to be packaged, to be supported, so that they go home with the resources. Being here for 16 years, they've lost everything where they are coming from. So it's that we want to partner with this government of ours, the Zimbabwe government, to work with the UK government so that we advocate for them and then we get a deal signed.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing is that definitely I'm aware that there is an interministerial and intergovernmental discussion which is taking place, which is led by my ministry, to discuss about certain scenarios which you are describing. And these are issues, I'm sure, which are going to be included in the discussions, maybe so that if there is capacity on the part of the UK government, we can dictate them. If there is capacity on the part of the UK government, then they can assist. And so that then that can be integrated together with the team on the Zimbabwe side, who are from the Ministry of Social Welfare, and deal with that. Is it to respond to that?
Yeah, correct. I'm going to supplement that, if I may.
Okay, please.
Thank you. I'm just going to go straight into my supplement. I really feel very disappointed. I know Zimbabwe has a golden status during this Commonwealth meeting or summit. I feel that the African countries have let us down greatly. The West Indians really mobilized and have been campaigning for the discrepancies that have been existing in really disenfranchising black people who've been living here for a long time. On a similar line, I hope that Zimbabwe from this meeting, specifically because Zimbabweans have suffered much more than other African countries in being disproportionately or being treated very badly by the UK government. There are a lot of Zimbabweans at the moment in UK who are more or less stateless, who are living in the black economy, and who have no way either of going back home or staying here, who have not got the legal might or the financial power to actually seek remedies, i.e. actually pursuing that case through the normal channels and send papers back home. I've assisted a few people to do that, and they've managed to get their stays normalized. So I'm asking yourselves as representatives here to go back home and actually try to put this high up on your agenda. In addition to skills, sorting out the skills issue that has been raised by my colleagues and nurses here, there are a lot of qualified Zimbabweans here or able Zimbabweans here who can easily be actually assimilated into the economy here, either in IT or whatever, who are actually not working. A lot of young men and women here in UK who are actually roaming the streets and doing absolutely zilch when they could be economically active and really skilling themselves and ready to either go back or be part of any society they're living. Can you please give us some guidance on what the Zimbabwean take on the situation of Zimbabweans who are living here who actually haven't got any papers at all?
Okay, thank you for your supplementary input. I think what is clear is that we need to quantify your issue so that it can be examined more closely, so that we can be in touch with the International Organization for Migration as well, so that they can also come in. But we are very concerned as government that we have got Zimbabweans who are in that state. It's far much better sometimes to be around those people you know than in a foreign territory, especially when you've got trouble.
Hello, the other issue actually that I mentioned is the pension issue. In addition, there's a lot of Zimbabweans who are back home.
Sorry.